Well, good evening, church family. I do hope that we're all continuing to do well and stay safe as we enter a new phase of this very strange time in all of our lives. And I do want to issue this very quick reminder that this upcoming Sunday of, I believe, May 24th, we will be continuing our online service here. So be sure to stay tuned to our Facebook page and our YouTube channel to stay up to date on when the sermons and updates are being posted. But as of our little town hall meeting we had last week, we are aiming for the following Sunday of May 31st, I believe, to be our first in-person service there at the building, the first one we've had in quite a few months. And so that's a very exciting thing. Be sure to be thinking about that and praying about that. But it also, there's a lot that goes into making sure that this happens the way it needs to. There's lots of procedures that we need to be aware of, guidelines to follow, precautions need to be made, and I'll be making a more in-depth announcement on this upcoming Sunday in our sermon here for those interested. But do be sure that you are praying about that and be preparing for that if you plan to show up for that. And of course, I want to issue this reminder as well that if you don't feel quite comfortable in getting back out into a physical worship service like that, and you think it'd be better for you to stay in, then please don't feel obligated to do so, to come to the worship service there. It would be great to have everybody there, but again, safety is our priority here. So if you don't feel quite comfortable coming back out and engaging in a physical worship service there at the building, then please don't feel obligated to do so. We'll continue to record our sermons and post them online. So if you'd feel more comfortable staying at home, then please do that. Do what is best for you and your family during this time. But we will continue to record those sermons, post them online, even as we have them there live at the building. So do please be praying about the situation. If anybody has any questions, let us know. I know Brother Doug sent out a wonderful email kind of recapping what we talked about and the procedures we have to go through. There's lots of things to get ready, like hand sanitizer and cleaning supplies and face masks and whatnot. So there's a lot that goes into it, but we are excited to be hopefully reintegrating back into a physical worship service since. And we'll be taking it in a Sunday by Sunday case, making sure that everything's going according to plan, everybody is staying safe. So do please be praying about that and do what is best for you and your family during this time. But just be aware of that, be thinking about that as we enter into a new session here. Tonight for our devotional thought, I'd like for us to briefly talk a little bit about social media. Social media was always a big thing, but it feels like since this quarantine has become, or started, the COVID-19 pandemic and all that social media has just, I don't know if, I don't have any numbers to back up that it's increased in usage, but it seems like there's just so much more usage of it because people have so much more time to be on it. People are not able to go out and do things that they used to be able to do. And so the alternative is a very enticing afternoon sitting on the couch and scrolling through social media. And that is a good thing because it allows us to stay connected even if we can't go and be together in person. This video would be a great example of that, hopefully anyways, of us being able to stay connected, stay engaged, continue to encourage each other, and just make sure that everything is going all right in our lives and keep up with what's going on. For our brothers and sisters in Christ, our friends and family we have all over the nation, all over the world, just making sure things are going all right. But it's also, it's a double-edged sword, social media. It's also a bit of a bad thing because, well, it is social media. That doesn't require much explanation. It has the reputation that it does for a reason. And I think part of that is because of the anonymity, or not even the anonymity, because oftentimes your name is displayed there on social media. But I think it's that lack of physical interaction, that lack of a physical presence, the hiding behind a screen aspect of social media that allows people to be I don't want to say bolder. I feel like that's the wrong term. Perhaps more arrogant, maybe dumber, a bit too rash, as it were. It embodies this arrogance that comes out of people, knowing that there's no physical repercussions to be had with somebody there in front of you. You know, you can hide behind a screen, type whatever you want, and I think there's a false sense of security that comes with that feeling. You know. People get into arguments and fights on social media like Facebook and Twitter that I don't think they would ever engage in if it were actual a face-to-face confrontation. But because there is no face-to-face confrontation, people feel as though they have the power to do and say whatever they want. And that's a bit of a scary and dangerous thing. And it's always very sad and always hurts to see Christians, people that I know, brothers and sisters in Christ, that I know engaging in that kind of behavior on social media, you know, getting into arguments and interacting with posts that are riling people up and just seeking a reaction from people, and maybe even posting stuff that's not even true just to get a reaction out of people. I think that's very dangerous because it is so easy. We see people doing it all over the place. Social media is such a huge part of our lives now, and we see that all the time, and so it almost becomes commonplace. And people just get accustomed to it and then perhaps feel, again, that false sense of security that they can do that as well. And it's just so easy to fall into that, to give into that. You know, if you want to say something on social media, then, well, you can say it. If you want to argue with somebody, you can argue with them on there. If you don't like what somebody said, well, then you just tell them off. You know, it's right there. It's easy to do. I think that lack of physical interaction, again, prompts behaviors in people that they wouldn't normally engage in. It brings out something in us that we wouldn't normally do. You know, it leads to fights and arguments and feelings of anger and rage and resentment. Very, very dangerous feelings that, if left unchecked, can lead to sin. And I think that's a very appealing temptation for some, the ease of this temptation there. Those who struggle with anger or pride, even, who feel the need to assert their dominance, assert what they say over others, make sure people know how right they are and how wrong that other person is. You know, that's a very easy temptation to fall into if that is your struggle, if that is what you struggle with. And I know sometimes we see on social media things that make us angry, that we want to retaliate. You want to let other people know what's going on and tear others down sometimes. I'd encourage us to avoid those temptations, avoid those situations, because the Bible warns us about those situations and how to, it acts as a guide. It has guidelines on how to properly conduct ourselves when facing these situations. Now, social media was not around in the ancient world, of course, and so these are more geared for an in-person conversation, of course. But I think they're still applicable for our time spent on social media. So let's read a couple of verses tonight. Let's start in Proverbs chapter 15. We'll read verses 1 through 2 and then skip down to verse 7. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. The tongue of the wise adorns knowledge, but the mouth of the fool gushes folly. The lips of the wise spread knowledge, but the hearts of fools are not upright. Here, Solomon tells us that a gentle answer, and the way he uses this terminology here, it's made it out to be a kind, a soft answer, but more importantly, a soothing answer, one that soothes these situations. It's almost like a healing aspect for the situation. It turns away wrath, you know, it calms anger, and it makes peace, because as Christians, that ought to be our goal. We are to be peaceful and live peaceably among others. Whereas Solomon also says that a harsh word, it stirs up wrath and anger. And again, the terminology he uses there is almost like a wound. It's painful and it's searing. And so that gentle, calm answer is what soothes that anger and brings peace in that situation. Those bad words, they stir up anger and strife, and they bring out the worst in people. And so as Christians, we ought to be able to calm those situations. Solomon also says that the wise person will bring knowledge to others, that they will inform others and educate others and help others and bring goodness and purpose into their lives with what they have to say. But Solomon also says that the fool there will bring none of that to the table. They will bring their own folly and their ignorance and nonsense and mindless dribble. And I think it's pretty safe to say that we see a lot of that on social media these days. Fools who spout nonsense and stir up anger and post things just to bait people, to get a reaction out of them. They know what they're saying is wrong. Hopefully they do anyway. And then it entices people to react to it. And that's all they want. They just want to get a reaction out of people. But I hope and pray as Christians, as we navigate the minefield that is social media with all of the different things we have to worry about, that we would be gentle and peaceable and kind to others in our interactions there. However we engage others, not just on social media, whether it is there online or even in person. Of course, be gentle and peaceable towards others. Use the wisdom that Solomon gave us, and in turn, be gentle and wise to others. I want to thank you all for your time and attention tonight. Again, I know that these very brief Wednesday night thoughts are not ideal, but hopefully we will be able to manage a more physical worship service, hopefully sooner rather than later. Again, I'll be posting another announcement with our sermon this upcoming Sunday that goes more in depth. We'll be taking it on a Sunday by Sunday basis just to make sure everything's going okay. And if anybody needs anything, do please reach out to any of us. Let us know what's going on, and we'll be more than happy to assist you in your situation. But thank you again for your attention tonight. Stay safe, be blessed, be praying about our situations, and Lord willing, I'll see you all here on Sunday morning.